Welcome back, guys, to We Talk Boxing. Okay, so these are my thoughts, in regards to the fight which took place last night between Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Now, first off, obviously, I've got to give congratulations. I've got to pretty much congratulate, obviously, Tommy Fury on his win. It was a highly anticipated grudge match between both guys, seeing how this fight was, what, 2 and a bit years in the making. He obviously got the victory against Jake Paul. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say this was, an excellent fight, and this is probably one of the best fights I've ever seen between two guys. But what it was a competitive fight between both guys. Now, to be honest, it was competitive but sloppy at the same time, and somewhat predictable. Because realistically, what I mean by that is that you had someone who could box, which is Tommy Fury, versus obviously someone who has taken up boxing recently in Jake Paul, but only had a puncher's chance. And it was quite evident, really, from round one that how the fight was going to go. And even though Tommy Fury wasn't, miles ahead in regards to boxing skill and technique and all that, he was the far more accomplished boxer in the ring. And Jake Paul pretty much, as I said, had a puncher's chance, and the only way he was going to pretty much win in my eyes is if he caught, Tommy Fury with a big shot, which he did. He caught him with plenty of big shots throughout the fight. But also, Tommy Fury coming in and just being a bit reckless at times, and Paul just slipping the hook or straight right and catching him. That was the only way he was going to win, Jake Paul, in my eyes, because he just didn't really know what to do in the crucial moments. And what I mean by that is that he had no answer to the jab. Tommy Fury's jab was far superior, and he couldn't gauge the distance. But when he did, Jake Paul, when he did gauge the distance, he didn't know what to do up close. He was he didn't really know how to throw body shots, didn't really know how to tie his man up, which he got a few points deducted. No, it's not a few points, but both guys obviously got a point deducted. But it was just a bit awkward, but he got in there and he fought against someone who calls himself a so-called boxer. So fair play to him. So I've got to give him some congratulations as well, because he done well for someone who has only took up boxing, in the last 2 or 3 years or whatever it's been. So he's done well. He's gone the distance with a so-called boxer. Now, for me, the scores were a little bit dubious. And what I mean by that is that even though Jake Paul, yes, he put Tommy Fury down with a jab in the last round. Prior to that, I probably still would have given, Tommy Fury majority of the rounds, which honestly I probably would have said that he would have won this fight by unanimous decision, but it was a split decision loss. Do you know what I mean? So one of the judges, I can't remember the judge what it was. I think it was a 75, 74, 73, something like that. But obviously he gave that to Jake Paul, which honestly I didn't feel that I saw that, even though some of the rounds were close. But even though they were close, Tommy just did a little bit more at times. You know what I mean, to just edge the rounds for me. But that's everything. You know what I mean? It's subjective. You know what I mean? It's people's thoughts and how they viewed the fight, etc. But as I said, congratulations to Tommy Fury. He won the grudge match. He won the fight. The way he celebrated was literally like he won a proper world title, which shouts and screams to me that he's kind of hit his ceiling. And I'm not sure how far he could go in boxing, because he didn't struggle, but he didn't look brilliant at the same time. And if I had to say, he probably played it safe because he needed to win. You know what I mean? If he didn't win, there was a lot riding on that in regards to his family and his reputation, etc. But he played it very, very cautious. You know what I mean? Because realistically, if Jake Paul was an ordinary, boxer who he has been fighting, like some of these journeymen, which obviously Tommy Fury has been fighting, he probably would have knocked him out. You know what I mean? So he did play this fight safe. But he did celebrate, as I said, like he won a world title, which was quite embarrassing in my eyes. But it is what it is. I guess there was a lot of emotion, you know what I mean, regarding the fight, prior to the fight, etc. So yeah, he probably just let it all out. But where he goes now, I'm not too sure. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously he's got to get back down to reality and fight against a few more journeymen. You know what I mean? Maybe an 8 rounders and try and work his way up to a 10 rounder. And depending on how good he thinks he is, at some point he needs to try and challenge, let's say, an English or British champion, which is going to be interesting because obviously he's got a puncher's chance. He's a big guy, Tommy Fury. He's got power as well. So I do believe if he does catch someone, he does hit someone, he is going to hurt him and potentially knock him out. But it's the skill for me. You know what I mean? He just isn't like his brother, but it is what it is, I guess. But anyway, Jake Paul, just before I finish this video, I don't want to keep it too long. Jake Paul done well. And for someone who's only took up boxing in the last few years, hasn't had any amateur pedigree, has only had what, 7 fights now, I think. I think that was his 7th fight. He's done well. So I do feel that if one of these guys are going to go a bit further in boxing, I'd probably say it would be Jake in my eyes, because he's still got room to learn and to develop and to enhance and to build on what he's actually got currently. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Tommy, I'm not too sure, but yeah, I do feel that with some good coaching, do you know what I mean, and just tweaking his game slightly, that Jake could potentially do fairly well in boxing. But the thing is, with Jake, he's not going to do what, let's say, Tommy has to do in regards to, let's say, take on the English champion or the British champion. Jake Paul's not going to do that. What Jake Paul's going to do is going to call out the big names. He wants to be in the big fights, which is quite hard for him, because to be in the big fights, you have to have some skill behind you. And he hasn't got that at the minute. So that's what I'm saying. He has to go back to the drawing board, enhance and improve on his craft, and let's say take on some of the lesser, more journeyman type fighters of the cruiserweight division, and see how he kind of gets on with those guys, and then build himself up before he takes on the bigger names in the cruiserweight division. Because my guy's calling out Canelo, and Canelo will kill him. You know what I mean? Canelo will actually show him the difference in levels. But anyway, this is just my, you know what I mean, initial post-fight review. Yeah, I was intrigued, so I did pay for it, you know what I mean? I did watch it, but honestly, I thought it would have been a bit more entertaining than what it actually was. The co-main event was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to do a video about that, you know what I mean, in regards to Badou Jack and obviously Makabu. That was a brilliant, exciting fight to watch. But if these two guys do have a rematch, I would like them literally to go at each other and to try and, you know what I mean, knock each other out, because realistically it was a bit of a stalemate in my eyes. But it was what it is. We paid for it. They got people talking about it and engaged and intrigued, etc. So they made their money. They done what they had to do. But where both guys go, how far both guys go, it's interesting. But you guys let me know your thoughts. As I said, you know what I mean, it is what it is between both guys. Yeah, they're not going to set the world alight. They're not going to be world champions in my eyes. But yeah, they will be in other fights against potentially journeyman or ex-world champions, such as Carl Froch. But anyway, guys, as always, please subscribe and like and comment for more boxing-related content. Bless.